Hello world, my name is Al. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know it's been a while since I've posted a video of me. It's been several weeks, so I'm hopping back on here. Yes, I am just going with the flow of life. As you could see in my shorts feeds, I am channeling music. I don't know if you paid attention to my awakening video that I have out there, but last summer I ended up hearing music in the middle of the night, and so just being able to hear music or lyrics that come through, and then I match the song to it or look up the song and actually get the goosebumps after listening to it. That's kind of what's been going on. My spirit team, my spirit family likes to play with me, so I'm just kind of going with the flow, just doing what makes me kind of like happy, which is listening to the music. And I know that when I was young, I always had bought all these singles, like Boys to Men or like Master P. I know those groups will end up aging me, so I'm revealing. But anyways, I'm here outdoors right now, waiting for soccer practice to finish. So I might as well just shoot a video while I'm kind of sitting around. That said, I know my spirit family, I've asked for this, guidance on the next video, and they really want me to talk about the father wound and the mother wound and how I've kind of navigated that along the way. And so that's what I'm gonna be doing in this video, and so I'll just kind of dive right in. I grew up with a father who came from the military, was in service in a sense. And my mother, she grew up in a big family. Both my mom and dad did grow up in a big family as well. And if I were to kind of give a kind of word of just describing, father controlling, mother critical. So this is why my spirit team wants me to talk about this. And so, which by the way, I've kind of cleared it with them that this is the one lesson I need to put out there, and then all the other lessons I don't really need to talk about, and I could save that for like another day. So this is the most important one I'm going to be putting out there, and then I don't know where my videos thereafter will take me, because I have a lot of things lined up for the next couple months. And so I'm gonna just be going with the flow of life. That said, I don't have a script for this, so I'm kind of going off, just going with the flow of however this comes out. As I'm going through my awakening process, I'm reflecting on my childhood and how I grew up and what made me the way I am today, coupled with, just how my personality is and how I've understood my own birth chart and through astrology as well. So just growing up, having a father who was domineering, controlling in a sense, and I respect him. I would describe my father today as being strong and soft at the same time. He is a Leo, so I grew up with the fire in the house, and I end up remembering him hanging on his arm, and would call him Popeye the sailor because he was strong and would lift me with his bicep, and I would just hang like a monkey bar, on his bicep, and he would lift me up. So, there were those moments, and, hanging out with him in the garage, or when he's fixing the car in the front yard, I would be right there next to him, kind of just watching him as he's working with the tools or doing whatever in the garage as well. So, that was my father. And when I say controlling, it's more like, he was in service, and for the country, he was in the Navy. So I understand him coming from a field where he had to make sure, the beds were made and all that stuff, right? The captain would come through and make sure all the, the crew and everything was, and the space was all in tip-top shape. So I understand that. But, like growing up in that household, it was to the point of me remembering, for example, when we're eating dinner or whatnot, we couldn't leave the table until we ate all the food on our plate because, wasting food was like a no-no, that was kind of the way that I ended up remembering those controlling kind of moments. And then also just growing up and, grades was a big thing for my mom. I say critical for my mom, which is, the way I did my hair, the way that we should make the bed every morning, and not have it disheveled. Kind of the perfect lines in a sense. I know that for me, I remember, and this is my own doing, which is I am, matching my socks that I had folded down and making sure that they are of equal, at the same height and length, or my pigtails. My mom would do my pigtails. She would make it like perfect. So that was kind of, that side of the house of, or her saying like, you gained weight, or, you need to bring home straight A's, right? Nothing is acceptable below an A+ in a sense. So like, that's how I grew up, bringing home the straight A's, all the way through high school. And then I remember, getting my first F in college and, telling my mom like, hey, I actually failed this test. And her reply was, it's okay, try again next time. And I'm like, what the heck? You've been drilling me my entire life of bringing home straight A's, and then now it's okay to bring home an F. But I guess back then, suicide rate was up. So I think that's what my older sisters told my mom, like, hey, be easy on her. But anyways, just as I'm kind of going through this journey, reflecting on all the incidents, all the fights, all the arguments, all the kind of disobeying in a sense. I remember every single incident, and I am basically going within and just every incident that I am pulling up from memory, kind of just putting it out there, directed to both of my parents of, I forgive you, and I hope you forgive me for whatever I've done wrong. I forgive you for what you've done wrong to me growing up. And, I love you and I thank you, and this is all done just in my thoughts and just kind of pushing it out there into the universe as like just my conscious thoughts of just kind of going within and just forgiving them and asking for forgiveness too. And so that's how I've kind of gone through this journey of just, not within my parental, issues or whatever, growing up in that way, but also just thinking of other incidents that I've encountered or gone through throughout my entire life, from just remembering elementary or even preschool days to, current day, and just kind of going within and just asking for forgiveness or saying sorry to the person. And it's all done, within my mind, but just with that grace and that like compassion that I have for the person, and just putting it out there. I believe in that the universe listens, right? And so that is kind of like how I've gone through, is just remembering every single incident. And I have a good memory. So like, if you don't remember, just, just with your heart, put it out there that you forgive the person if you find it in your heart to forgive them, which, that will make things better. And so that is kind of like my journey as I'm going through this, and, kind of wiping that slate clean in a sense, and just kind of putting those thoughts out there as well. So that's kind of what my spirit family wanted me to talk about for this video, and just being able to move on. Like, for example, I took my mom to Costco. I don't know if folks in the United States, y'all know what Costco is. So for those who don't know, it's just like a big old, shopping, store that you can buy things in bulk. But anyways, I brought her to Costco, and both my mom and I are air signs. And so sometimes we are quiet, or depending on, the mood, or, we'll just be chatting it up. And so I know that at that day that I took her, she was in a bad mood, so I just kept my mouth shut. But as I'm driving her, in my mind, I'm talking to her, which is I'm telling her, Mom, I forgive you. I hope you forgive me. Everything will be okay. Blah, 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 whatever happened at that moment or the week before, and I'm just talking to people through my mind, telepathically in a sense, and just with the bottom of my heart, asking for forgiveness, or telling them I forgive them too, and I love them, and I thank them. I'm so grateful for them for coming into my life, because I believe that people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, right? So, which I have a very strong cutoff game. So like my closest friends know that, and so do my older sisters too. I can just move along and leave you in the dust, and I'll be okay, because that's how I've just grown up in general throughout my entire life, which I guess I can go into like abandonment and isolation and all that jazz in another video out there, or save that for like, another project in a sense. So that's why my cutoff game is so strong, because I'm like, all right, carry on, let's go, thank you next, right? So Ariana Grande. But yeah, that's kind of just what I wanted to hop on here for, and just quick and simple. I didn't like have to have a conversation to their face. I just did it from within, and I just put it out there in the universe, knowing that her, or my mother or my father's higher self, can hear me in a sense. And so that's how I've kind of just moved on and just accepted them for who they are, because they aren't awakened. They don't know, they don't know the beyond, right? Like what's beyond there. So, or into this spirituality space in a sense. So, that is kind of my journey, how I've kind of overcame my father wound, my mother wound as well, and how I kind of went within to just remember all those incidences and ask for forgiveness, and also tell them, I forgive you too. And then just kind of, and I see them today, I'm just telepathically kind of like, all right, I still say this every time I see them, I forgive you, I hope you forgive me, thank you, and I hope that, if one day you ever pass away, you're there to protect, me, in a sense, and be my angel in a way. So, that's kind of my journey. I hope that helps someone out there, as you're going through this journey of just the awakening process. I know that part of, being the chosen one, or a chosen one, earth angels, starseed, whatever, like that is part of the journey of just kind of asking for forgiveness, reflecting on your life decisions, and good or bad, right? And just understanding the karma or the dharma that unfolds from that decision, and accepting it, in a sense. So I hope this helps someone, and I will hop back on here when I'm divinely guided to, and hopefully the next couple months will be some fun videos that I put out there, as you are kind of joining me on this journey of life and this entire spiritual awakening process that I'm going through at the moment, and just being able to unlock gifts or experiences that I'll be going through. There's a lot kind of coming up, so I'll share a little along the way as I go. And I love you all so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking the videos as well. I hope you enjoy the music as your spiritual Al DJ. So anyways, I will see y'all next time. Thank you so much. Bye.